fight Phil, I'm coming to that cage completely transformed. A lot different than anybody's ever seen.
Rashad Evans is explosive, he's crafty, he's a great athlete, he comes from a phenomenal camp, and the dude just gets better every time you see him fight.
Good shot by Rashad.
There's always new levels to his game that he's adding. You never know what you're going to see when you see Rashad Evans fight.
Definitely an experience factor.
It's always exciting for me to watch him perform because he's one of those fighters where you can see the improvement fight to fight. Just a phenomenal athlete.
Right to side control.
Oh, good punch. Now he's got Stephen Bonner's back. Bonner is going to try to roll takedown, but he could not hold on to the guillotine.
Everything that I've done before is totally different. My mindset, my whole game is completely different. I'm excited to go out there and showcase the rebirth of my style and progressing things to the next level. I'm in a place and I got the coaches right now to get me to where I always knew I could be.
Come get me, baby.
And with a title shot so close at stake, you can be sure that Evans will do whatever it takes to achieve that goal and regain his championship status.
I'll tell you what, if Phil Davis can't take me down and keep me down, Phil Davis is getting knocked out.
I'm going to go in there and do the same thing I've been doing and come out with the W.
Great performance by Phil Davis.
See, Phil is a baby in this game. He's just a baby. He ain't really gotten a fight yet. He's never really gotten in there with another athlete, somebody who's got him in every single area.
I'm flexible. I'll let you choose wherever you want to take the fight, and then I'll beat you there.
Davis got the double. Looking for the takedown. This is not where Bosch wants to be.
I don't really think about the fact that Rashad was a former UFC champion. Winning's what I plan to do anyway. I have the skills to defeat Rashad Evans.
He's going to look in my eyes, and he's going to know he's going to lose the fight.
I grew up in the country. We had property. My father was a horse breeder. So we had a lot of chores, a lot of work to do. I was never really young. I've always been grown up. My dad wrestled, my uncles all wrestled, my cousins were all really good wrestlers, and I always wanted to be like them. We'd go to family gatherings and I'd always want to wrestle.
No, set it up tight on him.
I don't know how to play any sport or any games of any kind except this one. I don't even know any card game. This is it. This is all I've ever done in terms of like a social life or for activities. This is it.
Get it, lock up, tail down. Get his legs down. Get his legs down.
My dad he was intense. There was only one goal, and that was to be the best, and it didn't matter at what.
Pat was tough. Pat was real tough. When he felt Chael didn't give 110%, Chael went home and moved rocks.
There was a tournament that I didn't place in. I lost my 2 matches. I didn't place. It was a high school tournament. And we had this crummy old wheelbarrow that just waddled as you moved it. And I had to fill it full of these rocks and stones. And I had to move it through the field and load these rocks into a different pile. And then once I got all the rocks moved, I just had to move all the rocks back.
It was tough love, but I mean, he loved his dad.
They're very much alike. They set goals and they achieve them. And it doesn't seem to bother Chael that there's a lot of work involved.
After winning 2 Oregon State wrestling titles at West Lynn High School, Chael attended the University of Oregon, where his success continued.
I won 2 national championships in Greco-Roman wrestling. I got a silver medal at the World Championships, and I was named Wrestler of the Year in 2000 overall for all 3 styles.
But wrestling was already losing its allure.
The whole point of wrestling was to find out who's the toughest. And that's what wrestling was. Whoever could win the state championship was the toughest guy in the state. If you could win the nationals, you're the toughest guy in the country. If you could win the Olympics, you're the toughest guy in the world. Then along came the UFC. And that was the first and only thing ever that's been tougher than wrestling. And as soon as I saw that, I knew I've got to change course a little bit here.
Chael began training at Team Quest in Portland with future UFC champion Randy Couture.
When Chael first came to Team Quest to start training, he had an ornery streak in him in wrestling. I was always trying to find that ornery streak in him for his fights, because if he brought that out in his fights, he'd be hell on wheels.
Unfortunately, The man who instilled Chael's drive and perseverance hasn't seen the end result. His father passed away in 2003.
The day he passed away, I told him I'm going to win the world championship. It's the only promise that I ever made him that I didn't keep. And I've done everything in my power to keep it. And I will continue to.
At UFC 117, Chael Sonnen took on the best fighter on the planet, middleweight champion Anderson Silva.
UFC middleweight championship is on the line. Let's fight!
The first 4 rounds of Chael's fight against Anderson went exactly like we planned.
Oh, he rocked him! He hurt him! And shot! This is where Chael Sonnen shines!
You can hear me in the corner saying, "You're doing exactly what we want. Perfect. Keep doing it. Keep doing it."
You're doing great. Remember, stick with the game plan. That was the best pressure I've ever seen you use. It was beautiful, okay?
I knew I was winning the fight.
And he shot him, takes him down again!
Chael pushes forward again.
He's got him down again.
I knew I was winning each round.
Anderson taking multiple shots here.
Chael's turning it on now.
Anderson kept ending up on the bottom, and he had no answer how to get away, how to get up, how to get on top.
He rolls, and notice, see, Chael stays on top of him.
And Chael did a lot of damage when he was on top.
And Chael hits him again. And again, and again, and again.
Over and over again. He's getting punished by Chael Sonnen.
But only 3 minutes away from securing the belt, Chael was submitted.
Triangle, watch out, triangle. This is trouble. This is trouble. Dan Anderson, Chael's in big trouble. He's taking it. It's all over.
It was just so frustrating because I've seen Chael there before where he's let a victory slip away, slip through his hands when he has it.
I don't know what happened in this fight. I beat up Anderson, and Anderson got his hand raised. In some parallel universe, if you hit a guy 300 times and he wraps his legs around your head for 8 seconds, they declare him the winner. He can have his title. I'm the best. I was the best before I went in there, and I'm the best right now.
Munoz, a wrestler, won a national championship at Oklahoma State.
Munoz now looks for the single.
Shot. You see how fast that shot was?
And helps elite MMA fighters hone their skills.
Mark Munoz helped me a lot on my wrestling. I learned a lot of things.
You know, I know all the little things that make a huge difference. And it's about transition. You know, I teach them those little things and they love it. I've done wrestling pretty much all my life. Coming up from high school, wherever I knew were the best wrestler, I would go and wrestle them. Even if I lost, I was like, dang it, I'm gonna get him the next time. Every time there was somebody good, I would seek them out. I ended up being a 2-time state champion, then getting a full ride to Oklahoma State. College was great. I ended up becoming a 2-time All-American and 2-time NCAA academic All-American as well, and a national champion. I was teaching, coaching, getting my master's, and then I met Uriah Faber. And he was just like, Munoz, you need to get into this new sport, you know, MMA. I'm like, what's that? And I remember watching the UFC. I remember watching like Royce Gracie and Dan Severn.
Severn diving in and grabbing the leg of Gracie.
And I was just like, dang, dude, that's crazy. My first training session was with Randy Couture. And I was like, oh, great.
Randy Couture is an animal.
So I was fresh from wrestling, so all I did was jab, 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 double leg, take him down, boom. I was like, wow, I took Randy Couture down. He popped back up, got me against, boom, boom. Started dirty boxing me like he does.
Randy loves the dirty boxing.
afterwards, he said, you know what? You'd be really good. You know, he asked me how long I train. I said, dude, this is my first day. He's like, wow, you're a natural. And I'm like, you're the natural. Ever since then, I was hooked.
Mark turned pro in 2007, winning his first 5 fights, 4 by knockout.
That's it. Steve Mazzagatti says enough.
Coming from wrestling and then going into jiu-jitsu, it was a smooth transition. But going from wrestling to striking, I had to do a lot of changing around.
Jab, uppercut, cross, side, cross.
People might say, oh man, your stand-up is getting awesome. I'm like, yeah, it's good, but I still want to get better.
Continuing to teach while he pursues the middleweight crown, Mark has opened his own training facility in Lake Forest, California.
You know, I pretty much moved down here for my family. I have a wife, I have 4 kids. Alexa, she's 11. I have Trey, who's 9. And then my 2 youngest ones are professional pranksters. You hear screaming and yelling and crying and laughing. You know, it's a mixture of everything.
Oh, that was good.
I'm blessed, man. I'm blessed to have this facility. I'm blessed to have all the training partners I do have. I'm just going to train hard and improve every time I step into the octagon and let the chips fall where they may. But I'm looking to win.
Great. All the hard work, all the trials and tribulations have paid off.
I'm here with the winner, Mr. Wonderful. Phil Davis making a habit of winning these fights, man. Rashad, you came into this fight saying that you wanted to get a knockout.
Undefeated 9-0, Mr. Wonderful looks to keep his 3-year unbeaten streak alive as he takes on former UFC light heavyweight champion, Sugar Rashad Evans.
Once I get to good, I'm not going to stop there. I'm going to get to great.
Huge takedown. Can't jump.
I'm taking him down, and we're going to grapple.
Look at that.
There's another takedown.
Looking for the finish.
Spins out with a deep half. Oh, caught. This guy's a hell of a prospect.
A 4-time All-American collegiate wrestler and 1998 Penn State national champion, Phil Davis has risen from MMA prospect to top-level UFC competitor and done so in dramatic fashion.
Wrestling's what I do. I'm a champion wrestler. I will take you down.
Grindstone checked that one. And then the takedown.
I would like to take him to the ground.
Phil Davis is one of those opponents, man. If you can't stop that takedown, you're in for a big, long night of beatings.
I have a pretty good reach advantage over him. He's pretty quick, but at the same time, that's one of those things that fades in the fight.
Rashad was wise, though, Joe, when he felt he wasn't going to finish the fight, to not continue that pace and punch himself out.
If he wants to take me down, I'll defend his takedown. If I go down, I have skills there.
Oh, he's got an anaconda.
10 seconds.
He rolls into it.
Wow, he might get it. And it's all over! Phil Davis, Mr. Wonderful! Starting at UFC 109, Davis made his UFC debut against former WEC light heavyweight champion Brian Stann and completely dominated the much more experienced fighter en route to a one-sided victory.
It's a pretty impressive UFC debut right there.
Tremendous debut for Phil Davis.
Since that fight, Davis has continued to dazzle fight fans, pulling off impressive submission victories and displaying dynamic wrestling prowess.
Mr. Wonderful, Phil Davis, ladies and gentlemen.
Joe Rogan called it the Mr. Wonderful. It's kind of a modified Kimura. It's a combination of jiu-jitsu and wrestling. I basically kind of like put his arm behind his back and pulled on his wrist.
He's ready to tap.
It's all over!
Wow, he just one-arm Kimura'd him.
Yep.
I don't think I've ever seen that before.
Let's call it the Mr. Wonderful from now on.
All right, that's what we're going to call it then.
But in his upcoming bout against Rashad Evans, Davis faces another Big Ten wrestler who also possesses explosive stand-up skills that have resulted in some of the sport's most exciting knockouts.
Looking for the takedown.
Double underhooks on the ground.
Big shot by Rashad. Huge takedown. Rashad Evans wins again.
Rashad Evans was the winner of the Ultimate Fighter in the heavyweight division, dropped down to light heavyweight, eventually defeated Forrest Griffin for the UFC crown, won the world title. He has had 2 highlight reel knockouts, 1 brutal head kick knockout of Sean Salmon, and of course, when he put away Chuck Liddell to put him into title contention.
Sugar Rashad Evans has shown time and time again that his skills continue to get better with each fight.
When I fight Phil, I'm coming to that cage completely transformed. A lot different than anybody's ever seen.
Rashad Evans is explosive, he's crafty, he's a great athlete, he comes from a phenomenal camp, and the dude just gets better every time you see him fight.
Good shot by Rashad.
There's always new levels to his game that he's adding. You never know what you're going to see when you see Rashad Evans fight.
Definitely an experience factor.
It's always exciting for me to watch him perform because he's one of those fighters where you can see the improvement fight to fight. Just a phenomenal athlete.
Right to side control again. Oh, good punch. Now he's got Stephen Bonner's back. Bonner is going to try to roll takedown, but he could not hold on to the guillotine.
Everything that I've done before is totally different. My mindset, my whole game is completely different. I'm excited to go out there and showcase the rebirth of my style and progressing things to the next level. I'm in a place and I got the coaches right now to get me to where I always knew I could be.
Come get me, baby.
And with a title shot so close at stake, you can be sure that Evans will do whatever it takes to achieve that goal and regain his championship status.
I'll tell you what, if Phil Davis can't take me down and keep me down, Phil Davis is getting knocked out.
I'm going to go in there and do the same thing I've been doing and come out with the W.
Great performance by Phil Davis.
See, Phil is a baby in this game. He's just a baby. He ain't really gotten a fight yet. He's never really gotten in there with another athlete, somebody who's got him in every single area.
I'm flexible. I'll let you choose wherever you want to take the fight, and then I'll beat you there.
Davis got the double. Looking for the takedown. This is not where Bosch wants to be.
I don't really think about the fact that Rashad was a former UFC champion. Winning's what I plan to do anyway. I have the skills to defeat Rashad Evans.
He's going to look in my eyes, and he's going to know he's going to lose a fight.
I grew up in the country. We had property. My father was a horse breeder. So we had a lot of chores, a lot of work to do. I was never really young. I've always been grown up. My dad wrestled, my uncles all wrestled, my cousins were all really good wrestlers, and I always wanted to be like them. We'd go to family gatherings and I'd always want to wrestle.
No, set it up tight on him. Go, Cal, go!
I don't know how to play any sport or any games of any kind except this one. I don't even know any card game. This is it. This is all I've ever done in terms of like a social life or for activities. This is it.
Get it, lock up, tail down. Get his legs down, get his legs down.
My dad he was intense. There was only one goal, and that was to be the best, and it didn't matter at what.
Pat was tough. Pat was real tough. When he felt Chael didn't give 110%, Chael went home and moved rocks.
There was a tournament that I didn't place in. I lost my 2 matches. I didn't place. It was a high school tournament. And we had this crummy old wheelbarrow that just waddled as you moved it. And I had to fill it full of these rocks and stones. And I had to move it through the field and load these rocks into a different pile. And then once I got all the rocks moved, I just had to move all the rocks back.
It was tough love, but I mean, he loved his dad.
They're very much alike. They set goals and they achieve them. And it doesn't seem to bother Chael that there's a lot of work involved.
After winning 2 Oregon State wrestling titles at West Lynn High School, Chael attended the University of Oregon, where his success continued.
I won 2 national championships in Greco-Roman wrestling. I got a silver medal at the World Championships, and I was named Wrestler of the Year in 2000 overall for all 3 styles.
But wrestling was...
Good afternoon, everybody. What's up, Chicago? How are you? Thanks for coming. We appreciate it. We're happy to be back here. And our second big fight on Fox, which will actually start our deal with the network in January. And we're bringing to Chicago and to the fans this free triple header. You know how I operate, guys. Let's just get right into this. Who's got the first question? Yep, right here in the front row. He's going to bring you a microphone.
From recap.com. Earlier this morning, it came out that George St. Pierre might be out for 10 months with a torn ACL, and then it'll actually be Diaz and Condit. Can you talk about that?
No, I want to talk about this fight. Let's talk about this fight. Yeah, George St. Pierre's out. That sucks. I want to talk about this fight.
One more question. You chose 4 wrestlers to headline the Fox card. Was there a reason for that?
No, we chose guys. The way that this fight goes, all these guys are in title contention right now. All these guys up here on the dais are in title contention, and the way that Munoz and Chael Sonnen work out, the winner of that fight fights Anderson Silva, and Damian Maia and Bisping, the winner of that fight, would then fight the winner of the fight between either Munoz and Sonnen against Silva. That was confusing. You understand what I'm saying? You know what I meant, right? And then obviously Rashad Evans and Davis, the winner of this fight, would fight the winner of Machida and Bones Jones. Right here, second row. Oh no, never mind. The mic's over here. I apologize.
Michael David Smith, MAFighting.com. For both Mark and Chael, you've both talked about wrestling each other in college. I think, Mark, you said there were maybe some dirty tactics that Chael employed, and I'm wondering if each of you can tell us if that's an accurate representation, but how you think the wrestling or MMA matches up for the two of you when you meet in the octagon.
I talked about when we wrestled Chael, in the heat of the battle, he, got a knee bar and cranked on it a little bit, and it happens. You get things, tweaked on and everything, and that's what happens sometimes, and the ref is there to actually stop it. So. It's water underneath the bridge now, and, Chael he's fought for a long time. He's a great fighter, and, it's going to be an honor to fight him. He's got awesome MMA wrestling, and for me, I got great wrestling, but, you're definitely going to see a lot of wrestling going on.
Coming back here to Chicago.
Hold on. Chael's got to finish that question.
Yeah, well, Mark's explanation of heat of the moment, I appreciate that, but I can assure you it was a calculated and premeditated event. And I offer no apology. And secondly, I don't even remember college. I'm driving around in a car with no insurance, a pocket with no money, and the biggest thing on my mind is which kid should I sit next to on exam day. So as far as a wrestling match goes, that's the fourth thing on my mind. I assure you on January 28th, I will be ready. It will be one more in the win column, one more above the mantle, and one more for the bad guy.
Since you guys came here to Chicago, tell us about coming back here, and tell us about adding the fight between Michael Bisping and Damian Maia before the tough finale. Was that on your mind potentially to match one of those guys up against Damian Maia if they got out healthy?
Yeah, no, this thing was always supposed to be a triple header, and we've been having this horrible string of bad luck with injuries, and we put together 2 different fights that couldn't happen. So we said maybe things will go our way on Saturday if Bisping, with the winner of Bisping and Mayhem. Bisping pulled it off easily with no injuries and jumped at the opportunity to take the fight on Fox. Oh. The mic situation is not good here today.
One of the nice things with the Fox deal is that there are so many different stations that can be used, but a lot of people are finding that fuel is not very widely distributed. In fact, Comcast doesn't distribute it.
Yep.
So what kind of things is the UFC doing to make sure that it can be more widely distributed?
Okay, she said that the great thing about this Fox deal is that they have so many different platforms, meaning networks, that they can distribute UFC on. But Fuel isn't very heavily distributed. It's not in as many homes as most of the big networks. Well, I think that was part of Fox's strategy in signing the UFC. Since they found out that the UFC is coming to Fox and Fuel is going to be a huge destination. Basically, you can't be a UFC fan and not have Fuel. We're going to have so many live fights and content that MMA fans are going to want. They've already gone up 11%. They're at 38 million homes now. And believe me when I tell you, in the next 6 months, it's just going to get bigger and bigger. The distribution is going to happen for Fuel. It's going to be there. So all the people who are UFC fans and are complaining about not having Fuel, that it's not available in their area, it will be very soon. Yeah, I mean, I think it's already happening. The announcements that we've made have people basically bitching at their cable companies right now saying I don't have Fuel. Like I said, it's already gone up 11%. That's a huge jump. But since we announced the deal in early September, and they've already gone up 11%.
Uh-oh. Yeah, the question is, would I grant Anderson Silva a rematch? Look, I got no problem with Anderson Silva, but I'm not going to change my schedule around just to kick his ass, okay? I'm not waiting for him or anybody else. If I'm not the best guy and Mark is, then God bless him and he can go have the shot. But Anderson's not going to fight me in America, in Brazil, in Antarctica, in his kitchen while I'm trying to get a decent Brazilian steak. He is not going to fight me, and don't fall for the hype that he is.
Come on,
Hello.
Seriously? These mics?
All right. Hello? Check, check, check. Check. All right. Yes, I have trained with Anderson, and hey, he's got the belt. You know, I'm fighting Chael, and we're friends. You know, in order to get to the belt, I got to fight Chael. And that's how it is. I mean, I'm not going to make it more than what it is. It's a competition. You know, it's nothing personal. It's business. And I want to become a world champ.
Dana, over here, Matt with Chicago's MMA. Chicago's own Shoney Carter's in the house.
I see him.
And
how could you miss him?
Exactly. He's expressed a desire to fight on this card in front of his home fans, just a one-time shot, and we're wondering what do you think about that, if that's a possibility.
I think he needs to call Joe Silva. He needs to have that conversation with Joe. Good luck, Shoney.
Steve Milhouse on Bleacher Report. For Chael and Mark, you guys are under the same management team, MMA Inc. Was there any hesitation with you guys to fight each other?
To the challenge.
Yeah, you know, I mean, we talked about it, and you know, it was difficult, but it is what it is. You know, we're gonna fight each other, and we're gonna put on a great show, and that's all it is. That's the bottom line. Period. End.
You know, listen, everybody's got guys they don't want to fight, and Mark is definitely on the top of my list, and not just because I like him, because he's a hard match. I've competed with him before, and I've never beat him. But look, we have to do this, and on top of that, Mark and I agreed to fight to set an example for the rest of the guys. This is just competition. You know, basketball players don't not play each other because they're friends or they practice together or any other excuse that guys have for saying no. The answer is yes, and we will compete, and we will shake hands, and we will live with the result.
And a question for Michael. Michael, welcome to Chicago. Did you get that pizza last night, or what did you drink last night?
Thank you. Yeah, it's a pleasure to be here. No, I didn't get any pizza. Proud to be part of this event. Obviously, Saturday night went my way. Damien Maya's a tough fight. Thanks to Dana and the UFC for giving me this opportunity. Real excited to be on the card and real excited to fight again and fight the winner of one of these guys up here.
Michael, do you seem to compete? You seem to compete better over here in the front. You seem to compete better against guys that you don't like. You seem to have a dislike for Jason Miller. Some of the guys that you haven't taken a liking to, you've done extremely well against. Tell us about Damian Maia, your initial thoughts about fighting him. Do you feel that you really compete better against guys that you have a dislike for?
No, I don't think that's an issue. Yeah, you're right. You know, Jason Miller, you know, he talked a lot of trash, and I really didn't care for the guy. But ultimately, on the night, you know, you're going to fight. Whether or not that guy's said a few things about you, it doesn't really matter, you know. I'm assuming with Damian being a classy guy, you know, there's not going to be too much trash talk going into this fight. But this is going to be an exciting fight. Damian's fought for the title before. You know, I want to beat him. I want to beat him impressively. And I want to fight for the title. So whether or not he calls me names or insults me, it doesn't really matter. I'm going to be 100% motivated for this fight.
Go ahead, right here. Right here, yeah.
Dana.
I'll talk to you later.
We'll talk to you later. Dana Hiroko from theFightNerd.com. What do you think is going to go different in the Fox broadcast this time than from last time?
Well, again, to explain that first fight, the first one we did, we didn't have a deal with these guys yet. The deal starts in January. We just did that to kick off the relationship with Fox, put one fight on. The difference between this one and the last one is this show is going to be 2 hours. There's going to be a lot more fights than there were on the first one.
Thank you.
Over here, Dana. John Silver, the Chicago Sun-Times. It's been 2.5 years since your last trip to Chicago. Why Chicago? Why this card? And why are you coming back?
Yeah, well, it was time. We were due to come back to Chicago. You know, obviously this is the venue to be in too. And when we were looking at cities to bring, you know, the big Fox fight, Chicago was a no-brainer.
Fox. Why? What difference does Fox have?
Because it's a big fight. The ones on Fox are big fights, and you know, we wanted to come to a major sports city.
Do you anticipate a lot of local fighters on the card?
Yeah, normally what happens when guys fight in the UFC and you end up going to their hometown, it's everybody's dream to fight in their hometown, and especially, again, in this venue. I'm sure it's been a lot of guys who live in this city's dream to fight here in this venue, in their hometown, in front of their hometown fans, so I'm sure there will be. I will talk to you later. You and I will talk later.
Dana, can you talk about why it took 39 months or so to come back to Chicago? Is there any significance at all, or just kind of fluke of the schedule?
Yeah, no, it's as we continue, there's places that's been longer than that. As we continue to go into these new markets and places that we've never been, new countries, etc. I mean, there's only so many shows we do a year, and only so many places you can do them in. So it's just the way it went.
I ask that in every city.
I do.
Would you anticipate it would take this long to get back here for a third time, another 3 years?
No, I doubt it. I doubt it.
Okay. And trying to play to the crowd on that one. Phil, you have kind of the opportunity here to play a spoiler role for Rashad, who has had to be in that position before because of injuries and whatever else. Can you talk about your mentality going into that and, you know, being on literally the biggest stage of your life at this point, fight-wise?
Yeah, you said I can play spoiler by winning. Yeah, I guess that's what I do. If I win, I'll spoil his fun. Yeah, unfortunately, he keeps getting hurt once he's up for that title shot, and yeah, it's my turn to spoil his fun, and that's what I'm going to do.
Gentlemen, there's a whole lot of wrestling credentials up at this podium, and I'm wondering who's the best wrestler? Who can say they're the best? Go ahead, answer it. I know you want to.
There's only one way to find out.
Nobody else wants
I thought Bisping was going to say he was.
I was going to say, I don't know about wrestling, but I'm pretty sure I'll kick all their asses. I offered Rashad a rematch. Chael will get it. Mark will have it as well. Oh, and by the way, Damian Maia's going to get it.
Okay, and then one more for you, Dana. I know you're actually the best
And I'm
wrestler.
English. We don't wrestle.
Dana, is there a bit of a gamble in putting in two guys who can be spoilers in Phil and in Mark, and what you thought you had in title fights with the men to my left? These two can definitely play spoilers. Is there a bit of a gamble in making these fights?
Nah, that's boxing talk when you talk about gambling, about putting guys in. The way that this works in this sport, and all these guys know it, is you're always going to fight the best. These guys have fought their best all the way up to the top, and it's not going to change once you win that title. All of these divisions in the UFC are stacked with incredible talent, and things happen. Just like this gentleman said earlier, George St. Pierre is out for 10 months now, and now Condit and Diaz are going to fight for the title. Things happen, and you always have to be prepared and ready to fight the best on short notice. What?
Yeah. Did you say for the title for Condit and Diaz?
Yeah. They're fighting for the interim title. There's going to be an interim title till George St. Pierre comes back. Yeah. I didn't want to talk about this, and then I mentioned it. What an idiot. Yeah.
This question is for Phil Davis. Phil, you've had quite a long layoff. Are you concerned about ring rust?
No, not at all. No, I'm not concerned about ring rust at all. I was off and I was training as much as I can on a bum knee, and once I got able to do everything on my knee, I've been training pretty hard, and I don't think ring rust will be a factor at all.
Just about training at Alliance MMA with Dominic Cruz?
Absolutely. I think it's Gym of the Year. Fans thought differently, but maybe next year they'll agree with me, but neither here nor there. Dominic Cruz is a great teammate. I have a bunch of other great teammates, Travis Brown, Brandon Vera, Joy Beltran, and also Dominic Cruz, who's a great teammate and part team leader.
Quick question for Rashad Evans. Rashad, Phil Davis is a different fighter than you've ever faced before. What sort of threats do you see him posing to you?
Well, he's a fighter that has some strengths that I have as far as wrestling. But when you go into a fight, you really never know truly until you get in there. And what I perceive as threats to be right now is probably not what they're going to be once I get inside the cage. But just a quick assessment from the outside, I think he's pretty explosive. He has good wrestling, and he goes for it. So I just got to be willing to go in there and be ready to compete and go hard.
Dana, Lawrence Holmes from The Score here in Chicago and NBC5. What's the partnership like with Fox, and how much creative control does UFC have over its broadcast?
Yeah, it's been a great relationship so far, from Big Fox to FX to Fuel. They're all run by different guys, and we've got a great relationship with everybody. We're excited. I'm sure you saw the press release we put out yesterday. We ended the season over at Spike strong as can be. We pulled 2.5 million viewers in the last episode, and going over to FX. First of all, one of the things that I always say about the guys on FX, I don't care if you don't watch anything on FX, you know what's on their channel. They're such great marketers. So I expect big things for The Ultimate Fighter. I expect, you saw the numbers that we pulled on Fox with the first fight, and I expect that number to grow. I expect it to get bigger and bigger and bigger. It couldn't be better. I hope I answered your question. And how much control do we have? We do control the production. But obviously Fox is great at what they do. These guys are the leaders in sports, and they've had a lot of good input, and I'm sure they're going to continue to have more. And we want it. We welcome it.
Dana, just wondering, we got the two middleweight fights, and we don't know the status yet of Anderson Silva. After this fight, with Munoz and Chael, and then with Michael and Damian, could the winners face each other possibly for an interim title if Anderson's not healthy?
Anderson should be ready, Anderson should be ready. When guys get injured and they get certain injuries, we have a pretty good time frame. I think the only guy we didn't have a time frame on was Brock. When he had that diverticulitis, we didn't know if he was ever going to fight again. But Anderson should be ready by summer.
And Rashad, I know now you live out in Illinois, out in the south suburbs. How does it feel to be fighting pretty close to home?
Actually, I live downtown, but
South suburbs.
No, I live downtown.
Oh, okay.
Okay. It feels good, one pressure that you have is that a lot of people want tickets, but that's a good problem to have. But besides that, it's good to actually fight in a city where I live at.
Hold on.
Just like his daddy. Go ahead, right here.
Rashad, if you do make it past Phil Davis, which fight means more to you? A rematch with Machida or fighting John Jones at this point?
Well, to fight Machida, it'd be good to get to redeem my loss. But then to fight John Jones, we got the personal beef. So I definitely want to fight John. I want to put my hands on him bad, because every single time he opened his mouth, man.
Mike Finch with MMARecap.com. Question for Chael. Chael, Dan Henderson recently tweeted all the injuries that keep Anderson from a rematch with me and Chael will heal real fast if they offer Bisping to him. Do you agree with Dan Henderson that Anderson's injuries are fabricated?
Well, I don't believe Anderson's hurt. I know he says he's hurt, and then he did a training camp with Vandalay that got caught on tape. He just got done with working out with Machida that got caught on tape. But I really don't care about Anderson Silva. I truly don't. A guy with how hard is it going to be to become world champion beating up math teachers? I don't understand it. Give Anderson Silva my schedule and see how well he does. So, does that answer your question? Yeah, I think he's ducking me. I think he's ducking Dan Henderson. I don't know that he'd be eager to fight Bisping. You'll have to talk to Dan about that comment. But no, I don't think he's hurt.
Mike, do you want to respond to that?
Well, he's just another person that had his shot, weren't he? I seem to remember him getting tapped out just like Chael did. So both of these guys have a problem with submission defense. Just if he's bitter about it, don't talk shit about me about it just because you blew your shot. Thank you.
I have a question for Dana White and Rashad. Dana, you scheduled the big show on free TV at the same time as like a Pacquiao fight that cost people $59.95. So they have that, what do I do? And then you give them an offer like this. Are you scheduling things like that as a direct attempt to steal more buyers, like a direct attempt to attack boxing, really? And then the second question would be, Rashad, we all know you want to fight John Jones and people have to fight friends and all that. But what's harder is you have moved from places you've trained for years and developed relationships and moved. Is it hard as a fighter to uproot from basically a family and then go elsewhere, and you miss what are basically brothers and friends and more than just fighting partners but trainers and such?
Yeah, the answer to that question is no. I don't ever attack boxing. What you have to understand is when you look at your schedule for the year and how many fights that we do throughout the year, there's things that you're bumping into and things you're trying to avoid. Big college football games, big college basketball games, NFL. I mean, the list goes on and on. You're going to run into somebody. And there are dates out there that are considered good fight dates. Always have been since, the 80s or whatever it is. And the days that we land on, what you don't ever see us do is go head-to-head on pay-per-view. Like, oh, Pacquiao's fighting tonight. Well, we don't care. We're going the same night. We go on. We take some of our free fights. We put them on. We actually think it's better for everybody, and it's been proven. On nights that we stay home, on nights that we do the free fights on free TV, and there's a boxing pay-per-view, more fight fans are going to stay home that night. The times don't cross either. So you can stay home, you can watch the UFC fights for free, and then click over to pay-per-view and watch a Pacquiao or whoever. For instance, the other night the Cotto Margarito fight was on, the same night as the Ultimate Fighter. We pulled 2.5 million viewers that night, and then I don't know what they did in pay-per-view buys, but traditionally, every night we go the same night, both of us do very well.
And to answer your question, yes, it was hard to switch camps and go to a different team and reestablish relationships with people and just go through the whole gambit of what it takes to develop a team. But after making the switch, I can see exactly what was missing in my old situation. And sometimes when you stay in a situation for so long, things kind of become stagnant. And it's good to be in a situation with the team I'm in now that things feel fresh again, things feel new again, and then you get to feel the old way how things felt at Jackson's, because when we first started, it was about team, it was about, everybody helping each other out, pushing each other to the limits, and getting the best work in. And then once I left and exited, or before I left, it started to become far from what it was then. So it's good to go back to a team that actually has those founding principles, which I started in.
Damian, quick question. You haven't submitted somebody since Chael, I think, was your last submission. Sorry, Chael, don't hate me. Do you find that there's pressure going into fights to look for submissions? And when you look at Michael's fight on Saturday against a good submission guy, you know, obviously Miller wasn't able to do anything with him. Do you find pressure in that department going into fights?
Yeah, of course. You know, when I started the UFC, I submit 5 fights in a row. So, you know, everybody, when I go to the ground, they expect me to submit the fight. So when the fights start going, and I don't submit, people don't like. But it's just, you know, expectation. But I fight every time like tougher and tougher guys, and it's normal. And you know, I took a time learning more boxing and Thai boxing and even wrestling. I've been in Chicago like 3 times training wrestling here last year. I cannot just train jiu-jitsu anymore. I need to be an MMA fighter. So I think, you know, I will come back, but this is a great opportunity to come back and try to submit this fight. I know this is going to be huge on Fox. We need to come here, me and Mike, and put a war.
Do you think that helps you? Everybody considering you such a strong jiu-jitsu guy, and that allowing you to work on other areas of your game and perhaps take guys by surprise?
Yeah, of course. I've been training a lot of boxing lately, and I think I developed. Now I'm training with a Cuban guy in Brazil, and but what I'm trying to do right now is like to come back to my roots, come back to jiu-jitsu, because I think now I have a certain level that I can do, well with everybody in my weight division. So I need to work back and work on my jiu-jitsu, because that's what people want to see. They expect me when I go to the front to the floor to submit the fights.
Being the wrestler going into MMA, tell me the influence of MMA on you in the transition from being just a wrestler to now an MMA fighter. Has it been really difficult for any of you, but especially you? I'm curious. How do you feel about it?
Probably the worst part about transitioning from wrestling to MMA is just going into a practice and understanding that your goal is not to try to compete with a Brandon Vera and stand up. Your goal is to go in there and practice what you worked on. Keep your guards up. 1, 2, hands come right back. Stuff like that. Just going into a practice knowing you're working on getting better and not trying to win. And eventually you start doing better, and then you try to, you're gaining confidence in all these different areas, and you're looking to win in different situations. And it's hard when you go from a sport where I always knew what I was doing. In wrestling, I knew what I was doing, and then when I got into MMA, I didn't know what I was doing for a while. I didn't, and that's the hardest part.
All right, somebody else have a question? You couldn't wait to talk, could you? If you guys don't raise your hands fast enough, Shoney Carter's going to start talking.
I am behaving.
Dave Sadler with Vigilante MMA. This question's for Chael. I'm wondering, is Munoz the toughest wrestler that you've ever faced in the UFC? And if so, does that change your strategy at all?
I would imagine that he's the best. He's certainly the most decorated, I haven't given it a lot of thought, but I'm not a wrestler either. I'm a fighter from the mean streets of Westland, Oregon, and this is the way it goes. Look, I think everybody up here is grateful to be on Fox. They'd probably say, "Fox, thanks, everybody but me." I would say, "Fox, you're welcome. You've been telling people for years you've got the American Idol, and now you finally do."
Yes, sir.
Peter, Fight News. First answer, they did 600,000 Margarita versus Cotto the same night. 600,000 pay-per-views, Margarita versus Cotto.
Oh, it did?
Yes.
600?
600,000, around. And now the question, are you changing a little bit of business model, going from pay-per-view to Fox, marketing-wise, like NBA and the major leagues are going, or just a supplemental way?
Yeah, no, what we're doing is, now that we have this deal with Fox, I think what happens is we're going to expand our fan base. You know, this sport's been growing very quickly over the last 10 years, and the reality is once you become introduced to the sport, you become addicted to it. It's a very addictive sport, and now, you know, the television deal that we had before, we were very limited in our reach. Now, you know, some of these major sports cities like Boston, New York, Chicago, Philadelphia, and the list goes on and on. These are states states and cities that Fox nails that we didn't in the past 10 years. And when you think about just this weekend, this fight will be promoted in the Chicago Bears game on Fox, and you know, a lot of these big markets that have never been exposed to the UFC. So our game plan over the next 7 years is to grow the fan base of the UFC.
The day before the great fight is Chicago Bulls versus Milwaukee Bucks, so I'm sure the guys will be in United Center. Hopefully they will be.
Say that again?
Yeah, the day before the 28th, there's a Milwaukee versus Chicago Bulls right here at the United Center.
Oh, the Bulls are playing the day before.
Yes.
No, it's good. Basketball's back, and yeah, we're excited to be playing here. Like I said, this is a legendary arena here in Chicago, and we're happy to be here.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Dana, UFC 90 was at the Allstate Arena, and was there any thought of going back there for this card, or was it always the focus on the United Center here?
Yeah, we'd never been here before. We wanted to come to the United Center.
Because of the downtown area, just get more. Do you think it's going to be more of a draw compared to UFC 90 in terms of the fans coming in?
I hope so. Better be. Yes.
Matthew C. Scar with CageFanatic.com. Phil, I'm going to ask you a question that I already know the answer to, but I think the message is important. Can you tell us why you wear the pink shorts?
Yes, it's for breast cancer awareness, and you know, it's just kind of one of those things that's close to me. I have some friends and some family affected by it, and you know, it's just one of those things. People connect to people wherever you are who are going through something, or you know, whatever have you. Just to know that somebody else supports you or has been there, it just you know, it feels good.
And a question for Mark Munoz. Mark, we were talking about boxing not too long ago. Are you a fan of Manny Pacquiao? And
Yes. Yes, I am.
And what is the support from the Filipino community been for you?
It's huge. Yeah. Salamat sa'yo. Yeah, it's huge. You know, you see the just the popularity of just boxing and how many people just fill the stadium. You see a lot of brown people in the stadium when Manny fights. You know, you see the same thing here. It's starting to catch on. You know, I want to be the Manny Pacquiao in boxing and MMA. You know, that's what I want to be. I want to be the best that I can be at this weight class and pound for pound. So that's what I'm trying to shoot for, and that's what I'm working hard for.
Dana, all of these fighters have knocked people out in the past. However, none of them are really known as knockout artists. They're mostly grinders and submission artists. Was that a deliberate decision for the Fox card? Are you trying to avoid having brutal knockouts on primetime TV?
I mean, this guy's got one of the nastiest ground and pounds in the business, one of the most vicious, nasty, smash you up against the cage ground and pound there is. This guy comes out, he's had probably one of the most vicious knockout highlights I've ever seen when he kicked Sean Salmon in the face. I don't think you can see anything more vicious than that. His style also is I mean, anything can happen on any given night with anybody. I mean, I can't look at a fight, you know, two fighters and say, well, let's put this one on, this won't happen, or that won't happen. The thing that makes the sport so exciting is it's completely unpredictable. We got over our hump with the first Fox fight. We went out there, the presentation was perfect, it came off great. Quick knockout, which people are used to, and more importantly, no complaints. So it is what it is. This sport is on Fox, and it's going to be for 7 years, and there are going to be knockouts, and there are going to be submissions. There's going to be some nasty ground and pound. It is what it is.
Thanks, Dana.
Keith Lipinski, Wrestling Observer. It was announced today that Spike TV was going to have a marathon of UFC showings the same night as the Fox event.
That's weird.
What are your thoughts on that, Dana?
Again, it is. You know, The funniest thing about that, and I say it all the time, is we didn't make the decision to not be on Spike. You know, somebody high up in the Viacom, like I said, somebody high up in Viacom let the biggest sports franchise in the last 50 years go. And they're acting mad at me. I didn't do it. They did. You know, they got to do what they got to do to program their network. It is what it is.
And Dana Haruka from the Fight Nerd. Dana and Michael, this was one of the best received seasons of The Ultimate Fighter. What do you think going forward? Did something change this year in the way you pick the coaches and the fights, or is it kind of the luck of the draw?
No, the Ultimate Fighter's been one of the longest running reality shows on television, and it's the thing is it's a very relevant show, and you can watch these guys live in this house. At the end of the season, one guy moves on and wins the contract, but 4 to 5 guys a season end up moving into the UFC, move on to fight nights and into pay-per-views. I mean, if you're a fan of fighting or of mixed martial arts, it's a great show to watch. This season, there was awesome dynamic between the coaches and the talent this season. I said it before we went on. This is the first time that we've ever shown every single fight to get into the house because they were that good. This was just, there was great talent, great heat between the coaches, and it was a home run.
And as a fight fan, knowing that you're going to see the coaches fight on free TV, it's definite incentive to keep watching. Is that something that you think affected the ratings?
Yeah, no doubt about it. I mean, the 2 times that we've done that, the other time was with Jens Pulver and BJ Penn. We pulled great ratings with both, but that's what we're so excited about moving into this next season on FX. Every Friday, the fights are live. You're going to be watching them live every week. So, and all the other stuff, all the stuff that happens, the reality is what we call Jive Live. It will have happened in the last 2 days. So the reality will have happened in the last 2 days, and every fight is live. It's going to be a killer season next season.
Thank you.
Me too.
Victoria Bulahova, Russian Chicago Magazine. And Dana, question to you. You've been in the sports for so many years. What kind of progress have you seen for the last 10 years? What the main things happening?
With the mainstream?
With the UFC, with the fighting, with the MMA?
Well, I guess the best way that I could explain it to you is the first fight that we ever did at the Trump Taj Mahal, UFC 30. We sold 3,500 tickets. We did a live gate of $115,000. And 2,500 people watched it on pay-per-view on DirecTV. A fight we did this year up in Canada, we did 55,000 people, a $12 million gate, and 1 million pay-per-view buys. So, I mean, it's come a long way. We're in 175 different countries in 22 different languages and over 500 million homes worldwide on television. We've broken records in every major arena throughout the world. I could keep going on. I mean, I could talk forever. We just signed a huge deal with Fox. So we've come a long way.
And another question I have for Rashad and Phil. There is exactly 5-year age difference between you two. How do you think it contribute to you two going into this fight? Rashad, to you, maybe it's going to be more experience, or Phil, to you, it's going to be more speed and use. Your opinion on this thought?
The 5 years for me, I think it adds to my experience in the fact that I've been in these big shows, and I know how it feels, and I know what to do mentally to get ready, because there's a part where it comes to physical, and that's one of the biggest parts, but one of the parts that gets overlooked is the mental part. And having a chance to be in a situation like this, I think my experience is going to help me out big in this fight.
Right. Where I lack experience, I just make up with just being a champion at heart. Sometimes I don't always know what to do, but I just find a way to get the right thing done, and that's winning, and that's just one thing I'm good at.
I'm going to take one more question from you guys, and I'm going to pop up into the fans and ask the fans a couple of questions here.
Dana, sitting here with Michael and Chael sitting next to each other, could you ever see if those two were to ever fight each other? You probably wouldn't have to do a whole lot of press. That those two guys could probably handle it pretty good, don't you think?
Yeah.
Well, this is the first time I've met Chael Sonnen, and he's one of the nicest guys I've ever met. Don't be fooled.
That wouldn't last long. All right. Let's go up to the fans. If these microphones work, let's see if we can get a couple questions from you guys. Listen, here's the rules before we start. Don't ask me for tickets. I don't have any tickets. When I come back to Chicago, I'll be tweeting tickets. Let's just keep it fight related, okay? Thank you.
Dana, it's great to see you guys here in Chicago.
Thank you.
Damian, this question is for you. Because Michael Bisping just came off a fight, do you think you have a greater advantage in this match?
No, I don't think so. I think, it's good sometimes to be, fight after fight, because you keep a good rhythm. And so I don't think, if he knows how to use that, it's going to be a good advantage for him. And on the other hand, I just fought you. I fought in October. It's not so long ago. I think, this is not going to make any difference. Thank you.
Good question. Next question.
Thanks, guys, for coming to Chicago. Appreciate it. I just wanted to ask Chael a question. Who do you think is the Tim Tebow of MMA?
Tim Tebow, the quarterback, he's doing a good job. Who knows? I've never seen a football game in my whole life. I know who he is. I haven't. I've never seen a basketball game either. My uncle won 2 NBA championships. I do not follow sports. This is the only game I know to play, but I don't know. But good for Tim. I like what he's doing. I hope he keeps it up.
Over here. Dana, I just want to thank you guys very much for coming back to Chicago. Everyone here is real big fans. We're real happy to have you guys here.
Thank you, bro.
But also, this goes out to Chael. We're from Indiana. We're going to have a huge group, and you're going to have all the support from us. You're definitely going to hear us on the 28th.
Well, I appreciate that, and thank you for being here, buddy. I will be here as well. I assure you, no matter what happens between now and then, I will make that walk on the 28th and do my job.
And Hammond, Indiana, 219, we're right behind you the whole way. We're going to be here deep.
How's it going, guys? Thanks
How you
again,
doing?
of course. Robbie, for future UFC fighter. Remember the face. As of right now, I am a plus-size fighter, so it brings me to this question: would you? Are there any other divisions, any other weight divisions that you're considering adding to the UFC roster? Maybe super heavyweight. The big guys need some love. Anything? What are you thinking?
I will be making an announcement very soon about the 125-pound division.
Thank you very much. Love you, Dana.
Thank you.
Dana over here.
Yeah.
Being on Fox, can we anticipate, in America, having more events in football arenas since it's growing, and to meet that demand?
Yeah, that's a good question. I think it would have to be the right fight. The right fight we could do in a stadium, but I like keeping it in arenas this size. Has everybody here in this building been to a live UFC event before? Yeah. So the energy and the buzz and excitement with it we do in an arena like this. And I think we did a great job of pulling that off in Canada when we did the big one, but I like this right here.
Thanks for coming out, guys. Dana, I got a question for you. As far as the presentation, are you guys going to be doing any promotional stuff leading up the week of the fight? Are you going to do stuff around the city?
Absolutely. We'll be all over this place. We'll be all over the city from Monday to Sunday. So for the hardcore fans that want to experience all the things that happen the week of a UFC fight, believe me, we're going to blow it out of the water here when we come back. There'll be all kinds of fun stuff to do. We'll be all over Twitter and doing, believe me, you're going to enjoy it. Open workouts, you name it.
Since you've done the Fan Expo, East Coast, West Coast, have you ever thought about doing one in the Midwest here in Chicago?
Yeah, no, it's a good question. I honestly do not know the answer to that question.
I think it's a good idea.
Well, there you go. Then we'll do it.
And then also for Bisping, is this something that you want to do where you have a fight back to back? I mean, the other day on Saturday was just like a 3-round sparring session, but is that something you like to have fights that are close together, or would you rather have more time?
It was a three-round ass kicking is what it was, but yeah, Dana came and asked me to do the fight, and why wouldn't I take this fight? I'm in shape, I'm on weight, I've just had a long layoff doing the Ultimate Fighter, so I want to make up for that, and I'm in my prime. I'm 32 years old, I'm not getting any younger. I want to fight as much as possible, and Damian Maia, is a great opponent for me.
Over here. I have 2 quick questions. 1, would you let any of the fighters double as a quarterback? We could use some help. The other one, if Chael acts any more like a professional wrestler, would you consider dropping the title from the top of the arena? Maybe Chael's son and Mark Munoz ladder match?
People talk about Chael Sonnen being a professional wrestler. I actually think Chael is very witty, very funny, and if that makes you a professional wrestler, I don't know. I mean, the guy's funny. He's quick-witted. And trust me, when he goes in there, He's not doing professional wrestling when he steps into that cage. He's in there to hurt people. In a competitive way.
Dana, thank you for coming to Chicago.
Thank you.
So you like my spider shirt?
What is it? I can't see it. These lights are...
Asking Sheo if he likes my spider shirt.
I love that shirt. It's awesome.
Hey, but Dana, let's just say that Bisping beats Maya and Sonny gets that title. That'd be a great tough. Just throwing it out there.
If Bisping beats Maya, who fights who?
So if Bisping beats Maya...
I think he's trying to say me and Sonny would be a good Ultimate Fighter to do.
Okay, got it.
But that's what we want.
Come on, give me a break, mate. I've just finished one.
You're the master.
Oh, the Ultimate Fighter. Okay. I couldn't understand you, and I definitely can't understand Bisping, so that was a tough one for me.
How's it going? Dana? Yeah, how's it going, Dana? Thank you so much for coming back to Chicago, man. It's been a long time coming. I really thank you and Zulfa, Lorenzo, everybody for coming back to Chicago. My question's for Chael. Chael, it seemed like you got a lot of respect for Mark Munoz and you had a lot of respect for Brian Stan. It seemed like, the more respect you gain for your opponents, and maybe, you might finish this one off too. Are you looking to go for another submission victory, or are you going to ground and pound, or are you going to do something new? What else?
Well, you're welcome that we came back to Chicago, and when Dana and I made that decision to do that, and he takes most of the credit for it, but when we decided, we actually had you specifically in mind. So thank you for coming out today.
Yeah, thank you.
And secondly, I don't plan for any of that stuff. I hear guys talk about game plans and footwork and strategy with their coaches and their gold teeth and their 8th grade educations, and I don't care about any of that. I am... Mark Munoz is going to find out, and I do like him, but never piss off a gangster.
Second one is, I wanted to know if you ever thought about going up to be a politician. I know Joe Rogan said he'll vote for you, and if you ever go for mayor or anything, would you ever go for a politician, maybe even be the president, I'll vote for you.
But, I appreciate that, and I actually held public office, and I left the only way a person should, in handcuffs.
Hey, Dana. Thanks for coming to Chicago again. I will most definitely be here the 28th.
Thank you.
My question's for Chael. Before you get to smash Silva again, do you have a game plan? I know you just said that, but do you want to keep it on the ground, or do you want to stand up with him because he's got such a high wrestling credentials?
Are you talking about Anderson or Mark Munoz?
No, Mark, sorry.
Oh, with Mark, well, yeah,
Anderson has none.
I really don't know. I don't have a huge confidence that I can get Mark down. If I do, I'm not very confident I can keep him there. And I think the same goes the other way. I am confident that he's not going to get me down, and if he does, he's not going to keep me there. So it's going to be a little bit of a different fight. But I've been in this spot before. I've had guys where I can't get them down, and we had to go about it the old-fashioned way. So we'll see, but I'm not planning for it. I know it's a hard fight. I've felt this guy before. I've competed with him before. He's a tough guy.
All right, we're going to take 2 more questions from you guys. I know you guys stand on line. I apologize.
All right, I'm over here.
Yep.
Rashad, we've seen in the past, we've seen the 2 versions of Rashad Evans. We've seen the hardcore wrestler and the ground and pound Rashad Evans, and then we've seen the highlight reel knockout Rashad Evans. Which version do you think you're going to bring to this fight?
Neither.
All right.
Phil said that. I thought it was a fan or somebody. It was so quiet and mousy. But whatever one shows up, but I prefer to bring out the knockout one because Phil, he needs to get knocked out.
Yeah. Glad you mentioned that because one of your buddies, John Jones, said you don't have much of a chin.
Well, we got to see. You got to find out for yourself, right?
I was already thinking that.
Hey, but I bet you won't be able to put your hands on me though. I bet you be the first one to take a shot. I guarantee you be the first one to take a shot.
We'll see.
Guarantee.
I'll take a shot.
I guarantee you're gonna be the first one to take a shot.
Well, I gotta get the
because I'm gonna put those hands on you worse than that dude did to them other kids at Penn State.
I almost don't want to ask my question because that's getting pretty good up there.
Yeah.
Dana, I just want to simply say I wanted to know if you remember me at all. I would be surprised if you did. But last time I saw you was at UFC Dallas. I believe it was 107. I told you I was going to lose 100+ pounds, become a fighter, and that you'd see me soon in the UFC. And you said, "Good luck, kid." You know, and I just want to say I lost 120 pounds. I'm 3-0 as an amateur. I'm a cutthroat champion.
Good for you, man. That's awesome.
I'd say about 1 year from now, you'll be pretty familiar with me and my brother. He's also an amateur fighter. He's fighting this Saturday at the Sears Center. I was hoping some of you guys come make it because he's going to put a beating down on his opponent. The two of us, between us, we've lost 180 pounds. And quite honestly, you guys are all my heroes. You guys motivate me, but I would love to punch every single one of you in the face.
Good for you, man. Congratulations. That's awesome. Good for you. We'll see you soon. Thank you guys very much for coming today. We appreciate you. All right, I'm going to pull this thing out so we can get some photo ops here, okay?